Good evening, everyone. It's Thursday, the 16th of August. It's way past 7:30, so I should definitely start. Welcome to the Poetry Circle. It's a new series, although it's a little less new now because we've had a few of them, brought to you by the Limerick Writers Centre. The series is called The Poetry Circle in honour of the great Limerick poet Desmond O Grady. If you haven't read him, do read him. He's very, very good. He first formed and read this work at a reading, also called, surprisingly enough, The Poetry Circle, in 1954 at the White House Bar on O'Connell Street in Limerick. This evening we bring you the excellent poetry from John W Sexton, Kevin Griffin, Mulcahy and Patrick Stack. We have music from the equally excellent duo Paddy Shanahan and Rory Murphy. So we'll be having 5 pieces of music and 4 sections of poetry. And we start off now with the jazz musings of Paddy Shanahan and Rory Murphy. I wish I had a jazz voice, but I don't, so that was great, thank you. Kevin Griffin is a poet from Killorglin in Kerry. He has had poems published in a number of magazines: Revival, Riposte, Stony Thursday, The Shop, Crannog, Boyne Berries, Northwest Words and many others. He's read his work at Radio Kerry and was shortlisted for the Phisfest Prize in 2012 and the Phisfest Prize also. His first collection, Holding Salamanders, is due from New Binary Press in 2019. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce Kevin Griffin.
Thank you very much indeed for that introduction. I always have a problem with the mic because my feet is taller than the average. This is relevant to the first poem. It was missing all the winter, and I found it just in time for the fine weather. And when I opened it, there was a poem inside it. So I read it for you. Sun Hat. It had been missing all the winter. Found opportunity for a khaki summer. Somewhat too floppy, if you ask me. The legend on the label made good reading, double emphasis and random capitals, like mosquito control, excellent insect protection, them or me, sun guard, UV protection, UPF plus 40, weatherproof, water repellent fabric, double take, again with random capitals, antibacterial, combats odour and mildew. Can't have those on the smooth panels in my head, can I? Where once a dark savannah undulated. Hand wash only. This one is slightly different. It's called Transfusion. Every time he looked, the ruby flowers of the fuchsia had drooped a little more in their pots. He wondered how drought affected roots. Was it like the pain that lately based itself in his knees? One evening he let soft water, saved in the water butt, drip around the parched roots till they were saturated, all the time wondering if it was too late. That night, gentle rain fell, leaving tears on his window. He imagined the leaves being washed, reminding him of the cold cloth he often placed on the fevered forehead of his wife, for once in a restful sleep beside him. He relaxed as he imagined the reprieve that later that day would flow through another puncture in her arm. I suppose, if you ask me any strength I have as a poet, it might be that I indulge myself. If I have any fault, it's also that I indulge myself. This is called The Venture from the Car to Area 1. They were waiting from near the tree for me, using my own words for or against me. The buds unpeel, making their overtures. Panic attack? What to do with the waiting words? Let them read unless they stitch the holes frenzy had made in the epidermis of promise. Music hasn't made it across the void, and the wind is silent. But still blows leaf shadows across the granite woman statue. She is uninhibited and welcome. Arms impossibly folded along her neck and shoulders. I think of the woman and the swan god on the Eurotas. The environs team, once a playground, is still a playground, for the time being, they said. Let the true one be comforted. Rage boils in my mind's red, fierce eye. Oh hell, I am sick of all this. Let me now listen to the line of life. The stones will intone their tales to the worthy. Tonight the grasses will speak. I will blow a kiss to the world. The being that is me screams to be free. I will return to my own abode with a dream. Now, our writer-in-residence in Kerry is bringing out a book, and she has chosen this one of mine to be in it. It's called My Eyes Have Gone Their Own Way. I have been putting up with our foibles since early last year. I am too tolerant, and they, the eyes, have far exceeded their remit. Show me their take only. Friday last they showed a girl woman on a woodland path before metamorphosing her into an ambling fawn. They often set words to dance in the page, and gems have emerged. Same with my ears. I have listened and heard too much in the old manifestation. Recently, I was rebuked in an antique shop by an owner who intruded into my thoughts. He was reclining on a chaise longue, and was peeved I didn't give his observations the attention he imagined they were worth. He apparently considered them of more import than the ferment of thought I was enjoying at the time, nurtured by the replicas of classical antiques that graced his establishment, notably a little one of Venus de Milo, which titillated beyond description. During a hiatus in the reverie, I informed him that after so many years I had excused myself unilaterally of any duty to listen to anyone. Before, I had listened to thunder, and right now prefer to imagine Venus and Anchises as they, heedless as myself, lay, limbs entwined, on a velvet thalamus. Anyhow, how could I be sure that she was there at all until this tiff with my eyes is resolved? I'm getting there. This is called a slight incident that happened to me in Paris. La Femme des Rues. Near Galerie Lafayette, she was beautiful. Bold, desperate, assertive but smiling, the smile of a saint in a woman. I couldn't but meet her eyes. With the detachment of her métier, she throws open her brown fur coat. Eve again in the garden. I moved on, but with a backward glance, where another encounter, another scene was being played out. No flashing this time, the mere rituals of the game, the pout, the smile, speaking eyes. Time, ties, love, scruples, all tried but failed to erase the nostalgia. My mother. That incident with mother. Thanks, Eileen. I had learned never to lie to mother about anyone or anything. She could pick with the insistence of a Poirot or a Marple and never relent. Aged 16, and my first trip away to the metropolis and an aptitude test, I returned all agleam with satisfaction and guilt. Mother smelt a rat, and for days displayed her command of the surprise question, dogged but beautifully disguised. What was the landlady like? My face, red as the rising sun, betrayed. Easy going. The clock in the bedroom hesitated, battery dying. It lingered a while, slowing the seconds, the minutes, then the days, before finally stopping. 12:57, any day you like. On January 1st, there was a brief incarnation. It ticked its way through a further 50 minutes, its own unfinished business. 50 slow, stress-free minutes, and finally stopped at a time of its own choosing, its face still glowing. 1:46, any day you like. This one is called That July. Time for bed, they said, pointing to the clock, where a bobbing hen pecked out the seconds. It's 8:30, they asserted, but I, in my blue and white pyjamas, could see the big hand at 7 and the small hand moving up to 8. 25 to. It was unfair. The sun still high in the sky, the winds of hay bronzing in the acre. I was still awake when the rasping voice of the corncrake came from the high field at the back, his call coming where a tiny triangle of glass was missing from the top pane of the window. his anthem quite in time with the cluck of the hen on the complicit clock in the kitchen. I've lost one, but never mind, I might find it. This is a poem I was very, very happy with myself, and I sent it to every editor in Ireland who sent me, thank you for letting us read it, however. But thanks to a good friend of ours, Noel King, who sends his greeting, and you better send them back to him, I'll be upset. He told me to send this to the North magazine in Sheffield, which I did about a week ago, and within 2 days they were back to me saying they had loved it. Rereading Proofrock. The rain is light now. It drummed on the roof windows all day, and the fog cloaks all sense of sense. Beside me, my wife is curled and warm in sleep. Of her I will say no more. If she hears of this and doesn't like it, I can say the sensuality of the woman brought her to my mind. What have I to measure out a life? Coffee spoons, smiles, the squatting of crabs, useless works and days, the fullness of times. Would it be worthwhile even to begin? What may I presume? Be formulated? No, thank you. Nor am I Hamlet, nor am I prince or prophet. The rain has gone, there's another moon. Did Michelangelo want David to look east or west? Does it matter? Mr. Elliot doesn't say or seem to care. He merely throws him into another ditty. Is it worth a debate, an annex, a symposium? No, Mr. Elliot, the mermaids. Should I be allowed to address you as T.S.? Tom would be undignified and too familiar for both of us. I saw a mermaid once. It was no fun at all, let me tell you. She didn't sing, not even once, at least not to me. I am old, too old, more than slightly bald. Not interested in parting my hair. Would like a ponytail, even a little one, just the once. No trouble to eat a peach, most likely from a tin. I will continue to wear my brown shorts to the beach. Only a few pipe smokers left. The many are vaping, humanoids in great grey clouds, looking wasted. You know that word, do you not, T.S.? Maybe not this usage. I see a few Proofrock acolytes out there at the moment of being formulated. Look at what you presume to have begun. Now they will be with us always. And the rain has returned, insistent this time between you and me. And if I can find poem number 9, I will read it for you. If not, I will get the hell out of here. That's number 8. No, it's gone. It's gone. Thank you very much indeed. I leave you with that. I will not inflict any more on you.
I have to stand up to make this sound. Thank you very much, Kevin. That was awesome. We now have Rory and Pennine Ink once more, just for another music. beautiful. We have poets that have very large biographies, so I hope you'll all forgive me if I have to kind of do a bit of on-the-spot editing. Our next poet is Louis Mulcahy. He's a potter, ceramic sculptor who writes poetry. His work has been published in quality publications such as Poetry Ireland, The Stinging Fly, The Shop, Southward, Stony Thursday, and has been read on RTE1, including Sunday Miscellany. All these are very difficult publications to get into. You have to really be top-notch to get in there. Also Radio NELLY'S and Radio Kerry. He's got 3 collections of poetry, 1 in Irish and 2 in English, all published by Ansogart Publications in 2012, 14 and 2015. The biography and list of publications is extensive. Just rest assured Louis is very accomplished, and we're once again love to have him. So please, Mr. Louis Mulcahy.
You added a good bit to that, and thank you very much, Dominic. I'm delighted to be here and see some old friends. All these poems, I pulled them out at 4:45 this morning. They are the concern situation that befell us, and they're about somebody who was very dear to me, and we'll just get on with it. Stealing presents. I would steal gold halos off the saints, red bloom from autumn apples, and dewy threads of cobweb gleam to hang in your sleep's chapel. I would make that church of softest down combed from day old wings, strip fragrant bark to line your cot from eucalyptus bowls. I would dive into the deepest sea to capture phosphorescence, strip the scales of blue and green from mackerel's flashing presence. I would fill your ears with soughing leaves, quiet humming from massed choirs. Peaceful doves would soothe your ache, soft bells fall down from spires. Tabernacle. When I rise at dawn, I see loosely draped and folded the clothes that she will wear today, to cloud the perfect entity, warm and softly throbbing, receptive to the trace of tender worship that spills from eyes still bleary from dreaming of the tabernacle's treasure. Morning steals upon perfection. All the years of tumbling down bright life, bumping off rough sides that sped the slide, leaving marks to validate the age that she defied in every other feature of her being. The sun that turned the faultless skin to gold and smoothed tiny marks of mass and mind, now in the satin light of dawn, made bold by riches stored beneath the night, steals back again, a shy intruder on the scene. An arm and thigh escape the dark, provoking thoughts of action fit for untamed youth, sad thoughts of 20 years unblemished, then the fall through 44 of tumbling to perfection. Tsunami. I threw a pot, a clay pot, flared belly, collared neck, thinking as I worked that my thought was all of you, tracing past the pain, backwards down the decades we were blind to fortune's gifts. And then I threw a bigger pot in which to store those thoughts, trawling through the years before your fate engulfed the structure we had built. Great hewn blocks overturned and shattered by one malevolent wave. I didn't make another pot, just assembled the old shards. But when I tried to put the past back in that well-glued vessel, I found it wouldn't fit. For memory had expanded all the treasure once compressed under weight of daily life. And then there's a poem which is a series of 12 poems, 12 short poems that span 2 years. January 2008. I went up the hill behind the house today, through steep terrain of field and thought, navigating little issues, rivulets made torrent by the ditch. Better to climb past those tests minor mists around my head, causing stumbles, little tumbles amid fresh and carefree thought. No bird song, cry of lamb or swerving bee, no ray of sun to tempt the gorse to show life's cycle on its upward stroke, some yellow on a salt grey spoke. February 2008. I climbed the hill behind the house again today. If you're waiting for surprises, there were none. No difference in the sombre mood, no promise of release from winter wet. Land, half drowned, sunk by rain, saw insect, grub and snail await the pearl-shelled sun. I fretted too, with slantwise glances at the cloud whose spirit touched us all. But wait, submissive, almost pleading, like ewes look after lambing, was a hint upon the firs of yellow, faint yellow, with its call to bleat bark, song of lark, occasional low bellow. March 2008. I took on the hill again and found a change. Hope sang loud in sheep and their high-jinking lambs. It filled the iron-brown pools with sticky porridge spawn, bickered in the hedgerows and peeled above the lanes. My step was springy on fresh grass, while hurdles that had barred now lent a hand. And below, a tractor hummed while seeding ground. I chanted tunes to match its drone. New light was hunting shadows, investigating depths and thoughts that for months had lingered in slow flow from shorter days to virgin life's appeal. April. Advancing up the hill, I found a witch who waved a wand and showered me with tricks, made the sun blaze strong, then withdrew its heat, wogged me with rain, whipped my cheeks with sleet. She did this twice in half an hour and then again. If I were a bird, I'd have hopped and swept away. But being enthralled to gravity, I bent beneath a bush whose limbs were growing greener under leaf. On that hill, no doubt could hush the birdsong, veil the skies. All around me, baying lambs were risking frisky romps, despite the scald crow's beaks and cracks and bogey dogs and foxes who might snap them from their mahas. May 2008. The hill got easier as I passed unfurling ferns. Hawthorn dropped confetti over bluebells, under snatching bramble thorns, as primroses gazed calmly from the bank. Fuchsia too was breaking bud and showing red, while down below in swampy fields the flags rehearsed June opera tunes, heads raised in yellow arias spotlit from the gods. Springing, singing, ablaze with sun and hum, the Scaravine was fresh and dry, alive with hope for brittle air and brighter hearts in the coming summer months and fruitful weeks beyond. June. The flags were edged with brown as I approached the hill. Rag and Robin's bed of pink already laid and gone, ahead of alpine gentians, orchids' hats, and purple thimbles of the banshee, foxgloves on tall spines. We were happy, fortunate and busy, gazing out to sea, tracing seasons, whims, on wave-washed rocks and sea-pinked banks, forgetting the rampage of shorter days. Have I told you of that ocean and its moods? It could teach me, an expert, how to rage, in contrast with this rain of peace, this hint of old bones warming in the heat. July 2008. I was drenched as I took to the hill, not by rain, but pain that robbed the brightness from the day, caused silence, made small the muscle ache that went with every journey up the slope. The unexpected news of an outcrop on her spine strangled nature, smothered song, and as the story grew, old petals slowly withered, curled inwards, withdrawing from the scene. The lyric of our lives lay now in sharp relief, all chiaroscuro, with no place for subtle thought. Just desire to rid that rot, evade it and escape, to hear, see, smell, and touch again with faith. August 2009. A year has passed since I last climbed the hill, for I've been bowed here in my lair, learning to bear a burden, drink strange wine. Not just the flesh, the spirit too was frail. If I had climbed, it would have been in vain, for I was deaf to bird play, blind to life. Numbed, I felt no loss, no hope, not even the malignant march. For I had come to dread fresh growth, hate the season's stalk, wished the year would turn around, resume its natural path. September 2009. I'm back, climbing up the hill, rushing it, attacking it, making sure it cannot break my will, proving I can beat its downward pull. I focus on the path, skirt the fading growth, avoiding thoughts of future or hope of Indian summer. No vision now but winter moulder, which I had rarely known until dark portents cleared my haze, made sunshine bleak as sleet. October 2009. I have regained the routine of the hill, got back my daily rhythm, set my course to dodge the winter wet, achieve remission from its threat. The skeletons of Halloween hang like glistening cobwebs from the reeds, robbing mountain heather of the colour it was stored for use on Maundy Thursday's weeds. I move on, confronting inner swirls of gloom and twists of hope, thinking of those purple figures wishing for the miracle of youth. November 2009. Before I climbed the hill today, something stopped me short and yelled, "Look, look at me, see Lou, the god of light." I'd been arrested by our firs, which standing nature on its head, shamed the grey with colour and drew from me a pagan prayer. Gorse of genius, hope and light, take us to your thorny side, toughen us and bring us through to clothe ourselves again in colour. December 2009. As I was on the hill today, red berries came to mind, Christmas berries that do not thrive on salt-lashed stumps, but inland their drops of red and green bring hope that health will spring again from their strong seed. The Druids were right, the Christians too. In winter we meet sight of summer. So let me garland you with holly, paint your cheeks with reddest berry, and join your will to mine to close our journey that began like oak trees springing and will end when we crash down among our breed, who will pass our pith and story through cupules of their making, and etched on each acorn will be our legend. And two final ones. Singing of your soul, of what is past or passing or to come, I do not know, for I have not attended to your story until now. Your suffering inscribes a message that reminds we are born to love and die. I should imprint your spirit on a page to be unfolded, read and realized by our descendants, to make them proud of my obsession, you, the core of my Byzantium. The lighthouse. I've seen the light. I haven't actually. I have seen the flashing light at night come beam across the bay. I've seen ghost ships sailing at dawn, slide out again at dusk. By the way, this is on the other side of the country from where the rest of it was. The lighthouse. I've seen the flashing light at night come beam across the bay. I've seen ghost ships sailing at dawn, slide out again at dusk. I've seen the cranes ease up their loads and smoothly set them down. I have heard big lorries blaring horns behind their engines' tune. Then I know that on its way a pallet bears a box with written clearly over it your address in my hand. I wish that you could take your heart and place it in that box, to send its burden here to me, where I would need no crane to take it in my arms, hoist it to my back, bear it for you evermore through years of falling light. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Once more, it's always with feeling. Paddy and Rory. Patrick Stack was born in Limerick City and raised in Dua, County Kerry, educated at St Michael's College in Stole. He read French and English at TCD. He emigrated to Seville, Spain in '88, where he taught English and worked as a translator. He moved back to Ireland in '95, settled in County Clare, where he works as a web developer, programmer and adult education tutor. He's an active member of Poetry Collective Group, which he joined in 2007. He's had poems published in Voice Free, Revival Poetry Journal, Crannog, Bridget's Fire, and the Clare Champion. And his first collection, The Parting, was published in April 2013. His latest book, Rage, is published by Revival Press, an imprint of Limerick Writers Centre. So it's with great pleasure to give you Patrick Stack.
Thanks, Owen. Thanks to Dominic for inviting me to read. I always love reading, so I believe the more you read, the better you get, so hopefully. I'm just going to time myself if that's okay. I start with a prayer, believe it or not. A prayer to Lug. Gui kun Lug. Shok krum dove kjachtas na skaha. An head funnen a grimmige. Boer an tara vo ver gomer. Anu a seachan. Eg tarint kiro trina grui lia. Eg fehev leshen rian. A log lavada bi an shahanish. A leach il danach. Linger hal linach. Cillorglin an favar creasach a ruiga. Asar griha is asar dirha. Maar de varish baller in ma tire. Tuair doing an ish an bruntanas seo. And in English, prayer to Luke. The stooped one cometh from out of the shadow, Crum Dove is his name. Bent over is he from the weight of the sheaf he bears on his back, the first grain. The black bull bellows from sea to sea. Anu on her birthing chair combs her silver tresses with a golden comb, waiting for the dawn. Lug Lavada, be with us now, fierce resplendent hero skilled in all the arts. Help us banish the ravening beast from our lands and hearts, as you slew great Balor on the plain of Terra. Bestow on us now this gift we request. When I was younger, when I was a child, my father kept greyhounds. So the odd time they would die, as they do, so I was the gravedigger. This poem is about a very special greyhound, beloved of my mother. She was a great dog on the track, but unfortunately she couldn't produce. She was barren, so my father, being the businessman, had her put down, and my mother was heartbroken, and it was up to me to bury her. So this is about this. Dog burial for my mother. It's for Donald, who came with me tonight. Dog burial, dog funeral, I dig the grave. Sweat and flies, harvest hum thickens on skull. The shovel munches earth and apples. Stone-toothed earth, bone-rooted tree, stand sentinel. I hollow out the nave, mud-tiled, earth fresco, and drag the bitch by the ears, carefully, cold silken ears, cold as a dog's nose, moist with sweat, and lift her by the tail and drop her into earth cradle, womb unto womb, lime shroud, white for sterility. Fly mated, she will whelp her silent brood. The next one is very short. Entreaty. Let me love all of you, from your arsehole crinkles to your smirk dimples. The next couple of poems are, I'll just read them now. Psychemyth 9. Crystal turning cactus. Not much said, but what matters? You have become a dream at the edge of the mirror. The distorting lens entreats the flower to open when the mind turns on. Vestiges of reality shatter, river linger on the maimed grasses. All moons are for walking on. Real as I imagine you to be, are all things in my mind. Smash the icons, smashed vases, smashed faces, smashed images, smashed words possess my mind. Everything's out of joint. Some self breaks through out of the nether chaos which seethes. My rage breathes remoteness untouchable, immeasurable grief gulf suppressed within my loins, arising out of my mind. The leaves chant, burning lotuses emerge, can't. What stirs wingless, who displaying? Earth, mover, mother, renderer, spender of truths known, I groan, homing to fleshnet. Stall, child, calloused caress on a place that's best not mentioned for the good of him crying in the night. Molested minarets heave out of the pond, freeze broken with a single drop. Raped child, afraid of the dark day, afraid of the long tongues that spit out images which linger in the shadows like half-burned corpses dismembered in hearses of touch. Touch me, touch me, touch me, touch me, touch me, touch me, that I might come again in his hand. Touch me where the knife slit into the flesh, that I may mend and grow out of myself. Leftovers. There's so much I could put down, or is it foolish to expect a door and my mind opening like an oyster? I live inside myself where there is none until the ocean, brooding. Amorphous, I touch your arm and the skin didn't come away. The etheric fields unfolded, ecstatic entwined songs of molten semen pouring forth from out of the hot gap of my need. The words waver in and out. My eyes remain unfocused. My one touch turned about in midair and shot to the mindscapes. Atrocious moons weep inside. Cataracts of spectral music move me to wonder. Awesome whirlpools of sorrow spurt delirious causeways of web light. Drenched iris, glimpses intense, primal. Isis, forest, enlighten, lash, lap, leap, linger, sliver, sleep, slender, sound. You, bliss, together, I, place, indescribable, intense, emotion, rotation. Gulls cut out of the shivering dawn suggest the tenacity of statues. To break the spell that holds me, spurn, kick, kiss, anything bad or good, but strong. Love is the touching of all surfaces at once. I want to so much. The next one is a love poem. It's in English and Spanish, so I'll read the Spanish first. Oh, rosa, pétalo, chaca, moteado, chaparrón, tú que embrujas si no existes, un sueño soy yo, mi ser de vela apagado, mi mecha chamuscada por la O imaginaria que es el viento, el aliento susurrando de los temblores escarlatas de tu boca. Tú de la lengua bermeja, grita tu silencio a mi mundo ruidoso. Oh, rose, petal, pool, dapple, drench, you who bewitch. If you don't exist, then I'm unreal, my candlehood quenched, my wick but singed by the imaginary awe of wind, the breath soughing from the scarlet shivers of your mouth. Vermilion-tongued one, shout out your silence into my noisy world. I'll go back to the dogs. This is called the blooding. Blooding. When you have greyhounds and you want them to run on the track, you blood them with getting them to kill a rabbit or something like that. I know it's illegal, but people do it anyway. So. Anyway, the blooding. To too strong for my kippen arms to hold the dogs nearly as tall as my 7 years, too slow to anticipate the sudden lurch they'd make when they caught the scent, too soon for the cradled rabbit to be held in your arms, just so, before the blooding, and I let go. Too swift for my small body to escape the punishing kick, vicious with pent-up rage, unleashed of a sudden up my backside. Too tender to take the brunt, and I, too shamed by your snarling obscenities to bear the pain, shocked and numbed, will not walk ever again in that field, in the barn built years later with money from America. A cousin hanged himself. How am I doing for time? Right. Am I okay for time? Yeah. Okay. I've kind of run out of stuff, so not that I have adjusted it. I write this one, I haven't done it in a while. It's a bit mad. Staring at the wall. I'm staring at the wall. Will it stand or will it fall? Will it turn and walk away, or will it be a wall and stay? Will the picture burst its frame? Will the mirror take my name? If I think upon the whole, will the mirror take my soul? And the most that I can say is that boredom's kept at bay by staring at the wall. Though it's not a crystal ball, the cracks in the cement reveal a strange kind of intent that can easily enthrall when you're staring at the wall. There are strangers in the hall, and the wall proceeds to fall. Don't know where I am at all, till a bell begins to toll. The strangers grown so tall weren't really there at all. I'm just staring at the wall. I'll finish maybe with one that I wrote in Africa. I spent a year in Africa in the 80s teaching in a school in the bush, Sierra Leone. So this is written in a mix of English and West African Creole. So it's called I Give Much More Than I Get. We were both circumcised. For me, better cleanliness, or so it is said. For her, the pleasure principle liquidated. Such is religion. I was baptized, and I baptized her with my semen, put her on the calendar of saints, priestess, at whose goddess I can only guess. The room was dear. Paddy, how much the room? 24 leon. I no go for that. How much you want pay? 15 leon, lass. You going? You know do? You know go less me? Business bad oh, everything dear pass mark. £1 for beer, 2 leon soft, the price high for chop, you go other side. How much you go less me? I dey give for 20 lass. Okay. Number 7 the room, the lock no the walk better. This English Max Ernst stands in his nightgown, hawk face and darling moustache, ready with a reprieve. Or so it might seem in his eyes, but he knows these doors. I'm down to my skin, an intercontinental ballistic erection leaping up at me. I think of fire. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Patrick. Once more we have some more wonderful music from Paddy and Rory, and then we have John W. Just as a brief intermission here. Liquid refreshment is required, but after that, definitely music on its way. Then John. Plugged or unplugged, they still sound great. Okay, John W Sexton is the author of 6 poetry collections, 3 of most recent which are Petite Mal, Limericks, 2009, The Offspring of the Moon, Salmon Poetry, 2013, and Future Past, Salmon Poetry, 2018. Under the pseudonym of Sex W Johnson, cool name, he recorded an album with legendary Stranglers frontman Hugh Cornwell entitled Sons of Sheba, which was released on Track Records. He's a past nominee for the Hennessy Literary Award, and the poem The Green Owl won the Stoll Fellowship Poetry Prize in 2007. He was awarded the Patrick and Catherine Kavanagh Fellowship in Poetry. His poem In and Out of Their Heads from Offspring of the Moon was selected for the Forward Book of Poetry. He's also Ireland's most widely published science fiction poet, and he has so many publications in so many magazines I could be here all night. John W Sexton.
I'm going to stand a little bit back from the microphone. Can I be heard, yeah?
Yes.
Yes.
I always ignore him. His favourite word is no.
Adds the wax, John.
I know. It was nice to see Patrick beginning with a prayer. I'm going to start with a hymn. Just in time for
Just
the
for
religion.
Nicky, the hymn is for
Just
you.
in time for
The hymn is for
religion.
Nicky. Yeah.
Moon is caught above the trees. Owl cuts it free. Sing praise to owl. Sing praise, sing praise. Owl rips darkness from the sky. The stars come through. Sing praise to owl. Sing praise, sing praise. Owl rescues mice from boring lives in the worthless grass. Sing praise to owl. Sing praise, sing praise. Owl is dark when the moon is dark, bright when it's bright. Sing praise to owl. Sing praise, sing praise. Owl is death to all not owl. Owl is night. Sing praise to Owl, sing praise, sing praise. Owl wraps the dead in mourning shrouds of mangled fur. Sing praise to Owl, sing praise, sing praise. Continuing the religious theme and in deference to the forthcoming visit of His Holiness Pope Francis, I'd like to continue with, come in, oh come in,
Indeed, I know.
come in,
Oh, brave,
look
one
at
leg.
the hat.
Carry on, John W.
Thank you. Obviously, I'm the poet for the interruptions. All the things that Jesus never ate until after Easter. Iced caramels, sherbet strawberries, American hard gums, soft scented Rolos, Merry-Made caramels, mint creams, jelly babies, wine gums, chocolate satins, eclairs, jelly babies, milky licorice, bonbons, cola bottles, sherbet pips, cut clove rock, rum and butter toffees, jolly joggers, licorice whips, aniseed that's very hot, crunchy nut humbugs, hot minty chew balls, mother's mouth. 1 hour gobstopper, lucky dip and finger bags, sticky lice lick sticks, frog's phlegm and lumpy snot, sherbet fountain fizz bombs, stripy tiger nuts, sugar beet smackers, super sucker lollipops, a gingerbread house, blood from his tongue, his own words. I like having lists and then changing my mind. So I'm actually reading a poem that wasn't supposed to be in my reading. I cannot give you any reason why I changed my mind, but there you go. Mother's Hope. On Wednesday morning, my black, nameless cat hooked a frog by its green, elastic fat, whose heart voided panic, whose skin oozed pus, who aborted its spawn upon the grass. I got the frog later, minus its head, a gift from my cat who was fully fed. Thus, that glistening spawn was its mother's hope, a future of frogs on the grassy slope. Then silver moonlight lit the night that came, till the green finches plied their morning game. One by one they pecked out each froglet speck, till all that was left was a limpid wreck. So that frog's full stop was its final act, under finches' beaks and my nameless cat. And now, because I've gone totally out of sequence, I have no idea what I'm doing. Oh yes. For those of you who like gardening, I hate gardening. This is for you. And if, like me, you hate gardening, this is for you. The entropic rose. The entropic rose has spread all over the house, inside and out. Winter, the walls and floors bristle with thorns. All our clothes snag, so we are caught in our place. In spring, shoots push us gently through all the rooms, out through the doors, windows, even up through the chimney. We fall on the lawn and wait for summer. Summer comes and the house lights up with bloom. Roses, pale as moonlight, translucent as jellyfish, erupt from every branch. Under a full moon, the house becomes a ghost, detectable only by its scent, yet so brimful of scent that it seems everywhere, everywhere at once. Then, yes, petal by petal, the house sheds itself. Autumn, and we return indoors, get caught up in the furniture. Once more, we become part of it all, part of the yearning to get away, to be free enough to get caught again and again. Thus, we end, begin. I kind of like coming up with titles, and I think I'm known for my titles. I'm very pleased with this title because this title is so incredibly original. If you think you've heard this title before, it's just a trick of your mind. Ode to the Nightingale. Which of us fine poets really has ever heard a nightingale? Not one. Which of us has seen its earth brown, nearly caught sight of it, a flight of clod in sun? Heard its soft beat, its tack, its warbled song? Who, if any of us, have trod it down, walked upon its nest, crushed its gold-beaked young? Why do these awkward questions make us frown? Nightingale, you're the earthen bird, earthen. You're the one we dream of and then forget. You wake us, are silent as we waken. We're mystified by our sense of regret. Nightingale, we're the ones that you have sung, the cat's cradles of our minds unstrung. We all think that we know what our brain is thinking because we get our brains mixed up with our minds. The truth is, none of us know what our brains are thinking. Our brains are not our minds. Our minds are us. Our brain is itself. That was by way of introduction for this poem, which is called Brain. And it's the brain telling us about itself. Brain. If you were to pull me out, I'd be very long. I'm the second longest organ in the body, but the other one is full of shit. I'm the one, though, that carries all the woes, the one expected to take the strain, the one everyone refers to when they know nothing, and then they blame me when I know less than them. Sigmund Freud thought he knew all about me, though his thoughts were coming from me. Personally, I think he was thinking through his arse, but that's just me. He thought I had sex on the boil, but I don't. I let that up to the other organs, usually the smaller ones, the tongue perhaps, or the wagging finger. Sex. It's overrated in my opinion. I rarely give it a thought. Thinking about sex is a waste of time. I've got better things to do. The other organs depend on me, especially the smaller ones. I write a lot about animals and creatures. I also write a lot about my pets. I have quite a few pets. Some people have pet dogs, pet cats. Some lucky bastards and bitches have pet horses and ponies. But I have the greatest pet of all. And this is an ode to my pet. An ode to the departures of brightening, my pet moth. The not moving of your moving, the lazy non-committal of your flying, you, the dull knocking of the lampshade, the smacking of your head that you smash up your brains to, the curtains of your fluttering, your wings, the curtains of your closing, the silvering tattoos of your falling apart, the silverings of your many begunnings, my coffee mug, the pond of your circling, the dregs of my coffee, your drowning, the hiss of your burning, the fossil of your stopping in the wax of the candle, you, the many of many, the many, the same of you, the group of your gathering. I'm going to finish now with a ballad. I don't think I've ever read this in public before. I have lots of poems and books that I never read. I'm reading this to dedicate it to the memory of someone whose anniversary, the 125th anniversary of the birth of the great American poet and fabulist and author of dark fantasy, Clark Ashton Smith, was last week. He would have been 125 years of age if he was still alive. Mind you, 125 is fairly young for a dead fellow. Ballad to the Heir of Darkness. All I found on my father's chair were the death's head moths that rested there, a faded stain from the quartered moon and the taste of honey on a spoon. As I sat down, the moths came out and settled on me like a coat of grey with many skulls, the type the devils wear in hell. And clothed in this, I stepped outside and found a blood-red horse to ride, and took him down through the airless clay where my dead, rotting father lay. And on his corpse was a bloom of mould, and round his head a crown of gold, and through his chest a twisted horn, the headpiece from a unicorn. I unscrewed the horn that pierced him dead, put the crown of gold upon my head, and galloped to the sleeping town, the sunrise shining on my crown. I wear a crown of death's head moths, I wear a coat of death's head moths, and ride a steed as red as blood. I take my place in my father's stead as lord of the living and the dead. For all I found on my father's chair were the death's head moths that rested there, a faded stain from the quartered moon and the taste of honey on a spoon. Thank you.
Poetry Circle. We thank Kevin Griffin, Lewis Mulcahy, John W Sexton, Patrick Stack, and the wonderful music of Paddy Shanahan and Rory Murphy. And thank you very much. That's it for this evening. Take care.